This is Professor Homa, and I'm back with managing an employee records database. This is the second exercise that we worked on in class on Wednesday 12/7, and the file that you would download, the access file, is AC employees. It's employee records that we'll be working with, and it's the one here in Blackboard. So I'm going to download. Notice it has an ACCDB for Access Database. You may also see it with an MDB for Microsoft Database. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to do Save Link As, and I'm going to save this as AC Employees, and just hit Save. And if I see my downloads in Firefox, I can double click on it, and it's the one that says Employees. And if you see Enable Content, make sure you hit that button to enable content when it first comes up, just like our Excel files. And over here again, our screen will be gray, and we'll see tables over here, and we're going to work with employee records first out of this employees database. So I'm going to double click on employee records to open up the table, and it'll open up in data sheet view. You should know this because you're seeing basically the database. These are the fields along the top and the records going down, and notice they just have employee numbers going down the left side. And we're going to go into, and you can navigate in here, just so you know, you can use your arrow keys to go up and down. You can go over here and see different things. We'll be filtering these and finding information from these databases through this exercise. So we'll do this in a couple parts, but the first thing we'll do on the handout from managing an employee records database, which is the second one, we're going to go into Design View, which again is over here. Design View, and here's our Design View. And just like our last time, and I don't know if this is done or not, but I'm going to go into my state field, and I'm going to go down where it has field size and limit it to 2, and I'll use the greater than sign to force it to be capital letters. So for my state view, it says 2-character abbreviation, so I made sure it forces it to be 2 characters, and they also get forced to be caps. So if they get put into mailing labels or anything like that, they'll be showing up in capital letters. So that's what forces that database to do that, no matter how you type it. Okay, so that's number 5 on the second sheet for the employee records that we're working through. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with a validation rule, but we're also going to create a new field. So we're going to create a new field before birth date. So I'm going to go into birth date, and just like in Excel, it'll make a row above. So I'll do an insert row, and I'm going to call this field gender. Gender. So there's gender, and also it's going to be text, and I'll leave that text by default. But what I am going to do, I'll do a couple things for these properties, and these are some other terms that you'll need to know both for Access and also for your final exam. Is we're going to have a validation rule and validation text. What a validation rule is, if I go down here, is you're going to give a requirement that you can only enter certain things. So down here for my validation rule, I'm going to type in something that says, in quotes, F, and I'll put an operator in between, which is or. And when you hit return, it may show capital O, but you could just use a lowercase o. And then in quotes, I'm going to put M. So these are going to be the 2 characters that have to be put in there for this particular field, for the gender field. So you can either put in F or M. You can't be anything else, just F or M. So if you try to put in H or anything else, you're going to get an error message, and that's where this validation text comes in. This area down here is your validation text, and what I'm going to put in here is my error message, and I'm just going to put please enter F or M, and that's going to be my validation message if they don't enter these. So that's what I'm putting in for gender, and this is number 8 or the first side of the sheet that we're doing. So after I do this, I'm going to go back up to my, again, validation rule is the rule that has to be entered. That validation text is the error message, basically. So I'm going to go back to data sheet view, and I have to save the table. And I'm getting some error messages, and I'm just going to keep hitting yes. Okay, so this gender field, we're going to add genders in here. So we're going to do that on our next part. So I won't do all of it, but that'll be part 2.